Hi, what's up, Chalkers? Welcome to the Let's Chalk About It podcast. If you're new to fitness or just want to hang with some like-minded fitness folk, then this is the place for you. Remember, it's always good to chalk about it.
He definitely doesn't hang out with us.
No, he doesn't.
He's articulate.
We're not cool enough for that.
No.
Can the first podcast, well, the first, I suppose, main podcast just be about the intro?
Yeah, we can just do an intro. We've already done a podcast, you know that though, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't really our main one. There was, I suppose, like we're up and running now. We've got all the kit.
Okay,
That's
well,
the first time.
welcome, on that note, to episode 4 of Let's Talk About It. And I believe that one person in this room has something very interesting to talk about and has been putting it off for a long, long time.
Oh, wow.
And that's Chris.
What did you want to talk about?
Oh yeah,
lessons.
No, not the lessons.
Oh.
The so Mackenzie strength. I
was going for the fact that you started eating steak again. I'm not really that bothered about the fact that
So you're not bothered about my...
I'm not bothered about your career.
I thought it was the fact that your t-shirt was sticking to you in this 34-degree weather.
It is really hot. Well, and now more hot than that. The garage.
Yeah.
It's more
Now
than
we're in
34
this
degrees.
mini oven.
Yeah,
It is
it
hot
is
in here.
very hot.
Kieran
yeah.
decided to paint the walls black to.
So what do you want to talk
heat.
about?
Just the fact that you're eating steak again.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
I did say it to you a long time ago. I was like, I just going off it, eating too much of it, not really fond of it. Then Mel did make me some amazing steak potato salad, and it was
When did you go off steak? I thought you
couple-
lived off of steak and bread,
Couple
like
of
a
years ago.
cowboy.
I thought you literally
Like you just pull out your satchel and you take a bite of each.
The bread
then
absorbs
just
the
choke
fat
down some
off the
coffee.
steak.
Oh, okay, so not just steak on its own is what we're talking about.
No, I just haven't been gone off it. It's just one of those things. Like I don't eat roasts either. Can't stand like roast dinners.
Yeah, that's
Another
very
weird
Okay,
one.
so this podcast's now down to 2 people. So there's some weirdo who
Turned up
doesn't
Chris's
eat.
mic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not that big of a roast person, so
I just can't. I don't like.
I mean,
them.
are we
I don't know.
done?
I quite like roasting Chris's.
Oh well, that's one of my, it's in my LinkedIn profile, so of one of my many things.
roasts, Chris.
I've had a few endorsements as well. Don't know how.
Yeah, I didn't share that in any way, shape, or form. But in all seriousness, he does actually have something to talk about that isn't steak. So I suppose we should probably let him talk about the fact he has started.
Yeah, so long overdue. I've got started my online account, so that sounded weird to even say that, but yeah. So my Instagram is now Mackenzie Strength. So
because
please,
you're still in the Stone Age.
I know I'm slow with stuff. I'm really useless, but I
Like,
want to start
you
putting
get
out.
clients via Eagle still. Like you tie little messages to the legs and just
Via
throw.
eagle.
Yeah.
When did that ever happen?
Or pigeon.
I've
I
heard
don't know.
pigeon. But
Eagles.
like people got just like a horde of eagles. No, it's
Well,
not a
I
horde
thought,
of eagles.
you know-
A horde of eagles. A
I thought
school.
Chris had
School of
a
eagles.
No, that's fish.
horde of
that's fish.
eagles just stored away.
So
Or
people
owls.
aren't coming here for informational facts about eagles or pigeons.
Yeah, put your email link in, and we'll send you an eagle with the right information you wanted.
Or a message in a bottle, if you are, overseas.
So let's just do a real cheap push for Chris. How do they get in contact with you if they are after any kind of training or
So the email
daily
is-
training, nutrition, all that sort of stuff?
So yeah, I mean, I'd really like to focus on the products, online training programs, technique review via video, or then if they do want some consultation, then I'd say some video calls would be cool. But we'll just see where it goes. That's the sort of products I'd like to put out, and then e-courses and e-books would be something of my interest as well. It's Mackenzie Strength on Instagram. You can also just go straight to you can email me mackenziestrength.coaching@gmail.com.
Cool, perfect. You got
Lovely.
anything to add to that?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's the end of
I
episode.
mean, we've been
4
training
now,
with Chris for, I don't know, how long? How long have we been training?
about 6 weeks.
No, like,
Training with you,
how long have we,
6-7 years.
Yeah, probably so. I don't know. I know, you know your stuff, and
Cheers, man.
I can't really plug you. So
No, I was going to, but then I thought
Yeah.
the steak was far more interesting.
yeah,
So we'll
exactly.
talk about the
I'm
fact
eating
that-
steak again. I've
Yeah.
finally got an online business going, and that's it.
I think you've also just proved that you can get strong without eating steak.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I had lots of beef, just not as much
steak
steak.
and eggs. Steak and eggs.
Mm,
So you're basically vegan.
no,
I had that.
not how it works.
I had 100% vegan.
Well,
That's exactly what I had.
You two can think that. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's what came out of his mouth, isn't it?
yeah,
Vegan. I'm sure I heard the word. I'm vegan.
So according to you two, if you just don't eat steak, then you just
You're pretty much a vegan,
You're,
yeah.
I don't know.
plant,
I don't know what it
plant-based.
takes to be a vegan. So
You were going plant based for a couple of days because you can't really say vegan
Oh, yeah,
for 2 days.
I
'cause
eat less
it's
meat,
an entire
definitely.
ideology, so you can't say I was I'm definitely vegan for
Yeah.
a day. You
I
like
never
plant-based
check
days.
things for like milk and egg substitutes, or the things like this factory also had peanuts and dietary
A
things.
cow
in it.
lives nearby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
And he
know
doesn't
what?
like us. He's not a fan. he's not like abattoir cow either. It's just a neighbour, but he's just not into us. So yeah, we're not vegan friendly that way. No, yeah, I ate a lot less meat just because I was eating too much meat.
I just love cheese too much. I just couldn't give up cheese.
Yeah.
Just
See, I'm
couldn't do it.
not. I've never been on that.
Oh no, I could have cheese with every. Actually, pretty much do have cheese with every meal apart from my breakfast. But I'm sure I could
You
put
would.
that
You
in
could,
there somehow.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
your breakfast?
Either Weetabix or porridge is normally.
Yeah, you could do savoury porridge.
Could have
Just
some-
start eating grits.
I could have some.
Ronnie Coleman it and put
Yeah.
cheese and grits.
I could have like porridge, crackers, and cheese. Couldn't I? Just like a
Why-
weird sandwich.
White crackers.
I don't know.
It's
Just I always think crackers and cheese, don't you? Kind of
That's definitely yeah.
Just
Not for-
remove
not
the
for
porridge
breakfast.
from the scenario then and just have crackers
Not for
and
breakfast.
But to be fair, cheese isn't really a breakfast one. Well,
No,
it's
no,
actually
you-
quite continental. You do get cheese.
Yeah.
At
Oh,
breakfast.
yeah.
You get like
Get
breakfast
cheese
buffets,
omelettes.
don't
Some
you?
nice fatty meats, a little
Oh,
bit of
yeah,
cheese
yeah.
in there,
Croissants.
a little bit of fruit.
That was my best French accent, by the way. Croissants.
It was brilliant.
Okay. I know.
All you have to do now is look depressed and smoke a lot, and you're French.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's hope we don't have any French listeners.
If we did, they're
We
not-
don't anymore.
They do smoke too much.
Yeah.
Actually,
Actually, every French person I know smokes.
yeah, I was just
You
about to
are
say
right.
exactly the same thing. Actually, every French person I know is smokes.
Yeah, I only know 3 French people, all massive smokers. So yeah.
What did you want to get onto tonight?
I'm quite
Let's-
happy
let's-
with this free flow and
Oh, yeah.
enjoying where it's
I'm
going
happy
at
if
the
you're
moment.
happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm quite happy.
I thought
where
you had
it's
some
going
kind of
at.
direction, but yeah, this
I
is
had
much better.
direction.
It's almost like when you say, "Hey, do you want to go for like a walk?" And then you just go off roads, and then you just realise that you're in Blair Witch Project territory.
It's like when
The
Scott
hills of
says,
ice.
"I'm going for a little bit of cardio," and 30 miles later,
No, he
can't feel my feet.
he rings you the next day and he's like, "Yeah, about that 10k I was doing with the 20k of weights in this rucksack, and I just went for a run. Yeah, my ankle's bad again." I mean, you're like, "Why does he do them flipping runs with the rucksacks?"
I get very passionate about doing things. Okay, I can't help it.
You're just all or nothing type of guy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. Like people say, "Oh, go do 50 minutes of cardio a day, like on a treadmill." I'm like, no.
You had 15 days of cardio, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's what you
I'm
had.
going to do 15 minutes of cardio every 15 minutes while hiking up a hill until I'm broken.
On the way to work.
On the way, I'm going to get into work and bypass
away
through the
do
Lake
you
District.
Doing your Zoom calls on your bike.
Just getting up at 7 a.m. Like, yeah, I'm going to commute into work.
Okay, guys, take a look at the agenda. Hang on, I'm just going over a flipping hill. I'm on a climb, so I can't speak.
If you don't hear back from me in about an hour, please check in and call the ambulance. That would be lovely.
Well, while we're talking about cardio and we're talking about cycling,
I'm
let's
cooking, by the way, so
Well,
Segue.
There you go. Look, this is just
thermogenic. Like
extra sauna.
it's actually like I'm doing cardio.
I know, I'm going to have to take like a shine filter and put it on you, I think, after the end of this.
Thanks. Detail in my face.
A
That
demon.
was a bit strong, wasn't it, from him?
You look like you've been marinated.
It's all that steak.
Yes, it.
All the extra
You eat
steak.
steak
you do.
again and now you just sweat. You're just fitting the stereotype.
Meat sweats, yeah. Don't eat steak. Oh.
Yeah, talking about cycling
Oh,
and running. Anyone who doesn't know that Scott used to compete in triathlons.
I know.
Correct?
Anyone watching the video version of this is going to be very shocked when they see me.
But you did used
yeah.
to compete in triathlons. How many triathlons
Yeah.
did you do?
I've done 2 Olympic. I did 4 sprints, and I think I did 4 super sprints as well, or 3 super sprints.
Okay, well, I know nothing about triathlons apart from that they involve 3 different things: running, cycling, and swimming.
Yeah.
What are the differences?
So
What's an
Olympic
to what?
triathlon is like it's the longest one where they can be competitive with their time. So it's quarter of an Ironman.
Okay.
So it's a oh god, let me try and remember. It's a 10k run, 20ish k bike ride. No,
Check it on your phone. Doesn't really matter.
40ish k bike ride, and then I want to say 1.5 kilometer swim. It's been a few years. And then then when you do a sprint, it's half of that, and then a super sprint's half of that. So a super sprint, you end up running like 2.5k, but you kind of just go for the day out.
I bet they're still pretty brutal. Like just super
Yeah,
quick.
because you're trying to go as fast as you can. You're on your bike for 5k, so you're just banging it out there. And then when you jump off, you got 2.5k run. So
It seems like really difficult. I was talking to a triathlete a long time ago, about 5-6 years ago, and they said what they found hard because they're only just getting into it
Yeah.
What they found really difficult was the transition. So like you can go and train your run. So training's great. I know I'm going for a run, and you get in your rhythm, and you're running whatever people like to do. So with your bike, right? So my bike ride now, I've got to do so many miles.
Yeah.
And they were saying like they'll finish their whatever the order is. You finish your swim and you
bike run. Yeah.
Run, yeah. There's like get out from their swim, and then it's like right now into run. So the
finding your legs,
transitions were super hard for them.
Yeah, and that's where brick training comes really important, and that's training getting off your bike and into your run, because momentum of your legs on the bike, you're more hamstring dominant, and then you're running, which is more quad dominant. So like trying to swap over those muscles, you kind of have to train to get past that. Right. So you'd usually do a really harsh lactic building bike session. You'd get off and you do like a 1K run. Like you try and do it in under like 6 minutes or something, or whatever's a feasible time for you. Like kind of push it quite hard, like the 80th percentile, and it's just to get your legs used to doing that, because you know
it must be difficult to then train for, because you can train it in section, can't you? So on your bike, do your swims and do your runs, but it must be hard to train your sport in terms of just start to finish. I'm going to do this today.
Oh yeah, you really do. You usually do like a swim and bike day, or a bike and run day, or a run and swim day.
Be like powerlifting, be like weight training.
Exactly.
You can't, when you get to certain levels, you can't go full body all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was...
You never really do a mock meet in triathlon, because that's an entire day event.
Yeah, I was... I think it was... I'm going to say it now, and he's going to throw a hissy fit at me. But Ross Edgeling was talking about triathlons, because obviously he did the first
triathlon, yeah.
And he was saying about the training is the fact that you're going to pick the thing that you're the worst at and do that the most.
That's it,
Try and get the most out of that.
Yeah.
That event, so that you can, if you're bad at cycling, you should be cycling 3 times a week and only swimming and running once, for example.
Yeah,
there's no point.
That was it, because when I started,
and that is all I know about triathlons.
When I started, I couldn't swim, so I got signed up for my birthday. No, never swam before, never touched.
So how old were you when you learned how to swim?
23.
Wow.
You are kidding.
No, never touched. I
didn't know that.
I went swimming lessons when I was in infant school, so I don't know how old that is.
Did you do swimming in infant school?
Yeah,
I went to the same infant school as you. I don't remember ever doing swimming.
I think we've had this conversation before, but yeah, I almost drowned, and another student pulled me out, and I never went back into water since.
Typical teachers, you're not trying hard enough.
That was basically
Can't swim.
And he just carried on with the lesson. He was like, "Sir, I almost drowned." He was like, "Anyway, guys, get back and do your little kickies on the side."
Did you drown? No, because you're clearly having this conversation with me. Get back in the pool.
We took part of
you can speak, so there's air in your lungs.
Yeah, exactly. Stop complaining, because if you were drowning, you wouldn't be complaining, would you?
Yeah.
Just crack on.
Yeah, I've taught swimming. It is difficult to get, like, they're all in there trying to swim. It is very difficult.
So yeah, that was obviously what I thought my weakest thing would be. You know, I squatted loads, so I had big legs, and I did runs. So I thought, I need to get good at swimming. And then on the day, swimming was my strongest point, because I didn't really train. I hate cycling. I think it's absolutely chaotic that people would want to do that as a hobby.
That surprises me. Oh yeah.
See, I quite like cycling.
It's just the most painful activity. Hills are the worst things in the world. I would rather get kicked in the nuts than climb Neville Hall, for example, which is a local cycling hill, which most people might not know around here.
No, I don't know.
The most brutal
It's the back road to Market Harbour. Most people cycle up it. It's like we also have another hill called Rocky Hill here, which everyone knows.
Where's that?
That's a 12% incline hill.
Is that near Rockingham?
It is near
Rockingham. Right, okay. Yeah. I think I might have come across that at some point.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Like, even walking up that is difficult.
Yeah, so...
Like, I walked up that with Soph, like, I don't know, halfway through quarantine. We thought, we'll go and get some local honey, because they do honey down at the...
they do.
The little shop.
I've never had any, actually.
It's nice, actually. It's really nice. It's kind of a bit... we're going off topic, but it does taste nice. So it's worth a try. But we went down, we thought we'd decide to go for a walk down there. On the way back up, I got about 3/4 of the way, and I was like, I'm going to have to stop. Like, the cramp in the back of my legs was so bad. I was like, I'm just going to have to stop. Have this little seat, taking in the views, which really, I'm sitting there going, my legs are so sore.
Oh yeah,
I'm
so threw up at the top of the hill so many times, just killer. But I've never completed Neville Holt without getting off my bike. I think it's like an 8% incline. I mean, someone can fact check me with that. I have no idea, but it's just consistent for like a kilometre, so it just kills you.
Well, I'm not big on cardio. I should be, but I'm definitely not big on cardio. I do like cycling. I must admit, it's my form, because I just, from wrestling all those years, my knees are a bit shot.
Yeah.
So it's much easier on the sort of knees and the ankles than running is. And I just find running and walking can be, especially, like, we've lived in the same area for such a long time, and I think if you go somewhere else, walking can be a lot more fun. Like, if you go somewhere you've never been, it's easier. But when you live in the same, like, just going out and walking the dog, to me, can be sometimes such a tedious task.
Oh yeah, it's just
because it's just walking around the same place, the same views, the same things every time, and it's just like, I know I need to do it, and I have to get out and do it, and I encourage people who, may not want to lift weights to go out and walk, but it's not my thing at all.
Walking?
I'd rather jump on a bike and go for a cycle than I would go for a walk.
I don't have a bike, but I quite like walking around. We don't plan it too often. We don't really go. We went for some walks today, but no, I don't. Yeah, not too keen.
It must be a powerlifting thing.
You don't want to move anywhere. Just powerlift all the time.
Powerlift, yeah. It's like, can you squat up that hill? More than likely. Can you walk up? Definitely not. Absolutely not.
Does SBD sell walking shoes? Didn't think so.
Yeah, you got to make
sure
you
go. Doing it then.
I wear my belt while doing it.
Got your powerlifting belt.
Yeah, chalking up just to go for a walk, a little 5k.
So I did have a slight plan for today. It's not going to be all like freeballing, as fun as it is.
All right.
But we spoke last time about motivation.
Yep.
And what motivated us. But what about inspiration? What inspirates you to... Inspirates you, is that the right word?
Inspires.
Inspires you, that's the right word, isn't it?
Inspirations.
Inspiration. It's just like respiration.
Yeah.
It's a type
what
of
inspires
science.
you to be involved? I mean, we're all involved in strength training. But what sort of inspired you, for example, to do triathlons? Because that wasn't something when we grew up I'd have ever put you in, no offence.
None taken.
But I'd have never gone like, when Scott grows up, he's going to be, do triathlons.
Nothing inspired me. I was forced. So
you were forced? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a gift. So I was like, hey. And then I was just watching it. I mean, a big one for me, Sean Conway. I watched a lot of him when he did the Great British Triathlon. So he did John O'Groats to Land's End.
Right, okay.
Swam it, then cycled it, then ran it. I just thought he was a really interesting, cool guy because he does a lot of adventuring, endurance type stuff where he just travels the UK. And I just seen that. I was like, it's just kind of gets you out there. It was a reason to leave my house and not just be at a gym.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at the time, the gym was a 1.5-minute walk. It was just behind where we lived.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I was literally going there, work, and then home, and that was my life.
So it just kind of broke up the monotony of doing the same thing.
You've got a triathlon, it's in Kent, so you better learn to swim. And I'm like, okay.
Wow. Because
it's in open water, and there's fish.
So was everything you did, was it all open water? Or did you do pool stuff? And I don't know how
most of the
work.
short ones are pool. All the Olympics were open water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would like to have a go at, is doing some open water stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a big swimmer.
Makes you
we're
feel
not
like
going to
you're
get
one with
into that
nature.
subject, but I'm not a big swimmer.
Yeah.
But I would like to have a go at that.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Chris? What sort of inspires you?
Into lifting?
Anything, any form of fitness. Like what? I mean, you told us the other day, which I didn't know anything about, that you did gymnastics for many years.
Well, that was just kind of.
I
did gymnastics from maybe 3 till I was 11. And yeah, I suppose as a kid, you're not really inspired too much. You go and do things like your parents put you into things and you go and give it a go, whether it's school sports or whether it's stuff outside of school. So yeah, I did gymnastics outside of school for a long time. And then I went more into rugby just because I love rugby. It's way more fun for me. It's like game sport rather than something quite individual like gymnastics.
Okay, yeah.
But now I'm in powerlifting. That's just really individual. So it's interesting. That's not the obvious only reason. But I think with training, I'd say I was definitely motivated to get training just to get stronger. And then through training, through pushing yourself and trying things, you find inspiration. And I think that's how it sort of worked for me. So you look at certain lifters, whether it's Olympic lifting or powerlifting, or even other strength athletes like strongmen. So like when you watch World's Strongest Man, they're really inspiring as well, because they're just like, what they can do is really cool, and being strong is really useful in their competition, definitely. So I think
people move.
Hey?
It's very helpful for helping people move, being strong.
Moving house.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not listing reasons to be strong now.
If you want.
Yeah, we'll just
that's the only other one.
Do you know what? That's it. That is the only.
So, is there any sort of like individuals that inspire you in powerlifting?
Yeah, tons. Yeah, tons.
Like, have you got any examples, just in case our listeners or watchers
so
may want to look up?
Powerlifting, 2 that really stand out. So you got Brett Gibbs, world champion.
Even I know who he is.
In 2015 and other years, but multiple world champion, junior and in the open. He's an 83 kilo lifter from New Zealand, and always really inspired me just because how strong he is. And then one of the higher weight classes, he's a 120k lifter, Tony Cliff, UK lifter. Just tells he's a top bloke and he's just strong as hell. So that's just like inspiring to me, and then that motivates me to train hard.
Wow. I'm going to have to get my notepad out, I think, and start writing these names down.
Yeah,
because you guys have these group conversations, and I'm just like, I don't know who that is.
I mean, you know who those 2 are.
No, I know who Brett Gibb is. I can't say I know who the other
you don't know
is.
Tony?
No.
top notch.
And then we quite like looking at ollie lifters as well. So you've got Tank from Japan.
Yeah,
which I didn't realise was a person today. Yeah. So you're saying I just want to be a tank, and you are a tank, and then you're like, no, I don't want to be a tank. I want to be Tank. I was like, tank. Okay, well that makes more sense now.
And by that I just want to be the only tank, not a tank.
Just take him out.
Tank.
Just you're going to have to defeat him at some point, which is not going to happen.
I'm Tank.
Lasher Tallahassee, he's definitely on my radar lately. Just I can't stop watching him.
He's going to be, he's working towards being like the greatest Olympic lifter ever. He's like overtaking like Razazadeh, a lot of the Americans, the Bulgarians. So he's Georgian, but he's just like, he's top boy at the minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Then I think the obvious one, questionable where his morals were lying around 2008 Olympics and the 2012. But Klokov is someone that I've always loved watching. So he's like awesome and strong as hell. So lots of fun watching him.
Yeah. Again, I know who he is.
You'll know who he is.
I definitely know who he is.
Everyone knows who Klokov is.
If
you've touched a barbell.
Yeah, if I'm going to sort of go outside the box a little bit, well, it's definitely still within the fitness realm. But for me, I love watching people like Tia Toomey, who's just like
top notch.
An like you want to talk about Tank? I mean, the fact that she can go and I'm trying to remember whether she won it or come runner up, whichever way around it was, and then for the fittest woman in the world, and then go on to compete in the Rio Olympics in the same year, is just ridiculous.
Did you see that she posted like her first snatch session or something? And I was like, jeez, it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. Not for someone where you think, well, they're probably doing that since they were a kid.
Like, Olympic lifter, yeah.
Yeah, and then you see like Matt Fraser, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of mine are CrossFit guys, and I think that's just because
you inspire to do cardio.
Yeah, and I don't in any way, shape, or form. I watch what they do, and I just think, I just don't see how they can do it for how long they do it for. But when it gets to the weightlifting side of it, that's the kind of bit I really enjoy watching. Just to sit and watch them just lift, like I say, insane amounts of weights. Because when you look at powerlifting, it's a very different type of movement.
The top ones that all seem to win, they all seem to be the strongest.
Yes.
Well, they all seem to have a lifting background, or they are really strong in the field.
Yeah. At least the past few years, Tia and Matt, both great lifters.
And they just dominate. Just absolutely dominate. And last year was a little bit different because you had Noah Olsen got very close.
Yeah.
And he did take the number one spot off of him for quite a while within the event. But then when it hits the weightlifting side of it,
it's just something else.
It's just like... It's almost like, sit down, kids. I'm going to show you how it's really done.
Even Froning, when he was won, what did he win? 3 or 4 in a row?
I think he still holds a record, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think
he
holds? I think it's 4.
Yeah, it's like
3 or 4,
I followed him when he was at like his peak, winning all the CrossFit stuff, and he posted like a morning session, so like strength session, then he was going to do conditioning after it, and it was like 160k on the bar, and he's like, just squatting this for sets of like 15 or 20. So he's just obviously, that is a conditioning workout or an endurance workout.
Yeah.
But he's strong enough.
He's taking something that we would be going, well, that's a strength workout, and he's going, but I'm just going to do reps.
Yeah,
I'm just going to turn it into a conditioning workout at the same time.
Yeah.
My first 3 reps will be my strength conditioning. After that, it's all cardio. He just pumps them out as well. And then he's like, I'm just going to go swim in the lake.
And he'll just stop when Jesus tells him.
He will actually, yes. Yeah, that's definitely...
When gravity starts to overcome him and he turns it back on, that's when he stops.
Yeah. And I think us, it may be a little... Well, at least for me, from an athletic point of view, I started in very different sports from you guys. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of track stuff when I was, 14, 15. I was in wrestling, obviously, at 15. So a lot of my inspiration come from different wrestlers. I think that's the kind of the way you were looking at it. You obviously had your strength, which 100% was Brock Lesnar. As soon as you seen that guy, it was just like, okay, this is a different level of human being. And then it got more into our kind of niche of what I enjoyed doing, look more at the smaller guys rather than the big guys. And to me, AJ Styles was one of them, all day long. Like, he had the athleticism of a brilliant wrestler, but then he was like strong, so he was like picking up like Abyss, and it was good to see them letting a little guy go and pick up the big guys, because normally it was like, no, they don't do that. Especially in WWE, it was like, we're only pushing the big guys, so the little guys would never pick up anyone big. Like, you'd never see like the big show.
Is that from all the time you were watching wrestling, or was there like a big change at that point?
There was a bigger change, I think, when TNA was running it. When TNA let so there was like the X division, which was almost like their cruiserweight kind of division, but they would let anybody compete in it. So what you normally be your traditional cruiserweight, they would say, well, this is the X division, but anyone could go into that, so it didn't matter whether you were big or small. So it meant there was a lot of crossover with some bigger guys, and they would let the smaller guys pick the bigger guys up. There wouldn't be well, you're not doing that. And they kind of let that run until the older WWE guys tended to come out of retirement and take back over again. And WWE started doing it for a little while. Like, you've seen a big push with Finn, and he's obviously a lot smaller than everybody else. But then they just crushed that and went back to, unless you're big, don't worry about it. I mean, they've already turned around and basically said if Adam Cole was bigger, he'd already have won the title. He'd already won it, but he's just not big enough. Which,
Well, they look better on camera. People look at them.
I think wrestling's always that kind of a bit like a circus act. It's like you go there to see the larger than life freaks, as it were, and that's kind of what they want it to be. They want it to be, you go there and be like, I cannot believe the size of these guys. And some of the guys that you think are normal size, I mean, like, we met CM Punk and on screen he looks like a normal size.
I've seen pictures since I said to you two. I was like, no, he can't be tall. And I've seen some pictures of him recently. He's really tall, isn't he?
Yeah, I stood next to him and I come up to his shoulder and I'm like, I wasn't expecting this. I mean, then some of the other guys that you thought were going to be big, like AJ Styles, wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Or Austin Aries, those kind of guys, they weren't that big. And it was like, it's quite good seeing these guys. And these guys were like running the heavyweight divisions in a lot of the smaller feds as well. So we followed a lot of the independent companies. There's like a company called Ring of Honor. And a lot of their guys, the main guys, were all small guys. Yeah. They were all 6 foot and under. Whereas in WWE, unless you were 6 foot and over, you weren't getting in. I mean, you look at Crash Holly, we always think, oh, look at that guy. He was like tiny. He's probably like a normal size.
He was 5'11", same as me.
And he was jacked.
Yeah.
But he looked tiny in comparison. You put him in a ring with, like, I don't know, The Undertaker, and it's just like, okay, there's a child in there with that guy. Let someone go and get him out. But yeah, I think it depends. Like, at least for me, it was kind of sport dependent on who you looked at for inspiration.
Yeah.
And I think definitely for me, I was looking at the smaller guys because I think that was like, okay, I can make it in this business. If they can do it, then I can do it from a science point of view. Obviously, that wasn't the case because I'm sat here now having this.
What would you like to see different in wrestling now? Like, if you just turn on the top federations, like, what do you want to see?
Oh, I'd like to see the smaller guys. I'd like to see the guys who the crowd are pushing and the crowd want to see, and then it just gets to like. And I've got nothing against the guy. I'm making it sound like I know who I'm talking about. But like Roman Reigns and John Cena and things, they were pushed down people's throats. And it's like, you've got people like Finn who are, up and coming. You had the Samoa Joes who just ended up on commentary and they could have led the business, but squished. And to my opinion, put to one side. I mean, I can't say factually, because I haven't watched it for a long time. But when I was watching it, it was like watching Finn go out there and, it was SummerSlam, wasn't it? And he won the Universal title for the very first time. Well, he was the first person to ever win the Universal Championship, is that right? When they turned it to the Universal. And to see him then just be like, right, we're going to strip you of it because he got injured. Fair enough, you need to defend it. But then just be like, well, actually, he's not even going to put him back in the running for it again.
Comes back in as a jobber because he
got
injured.
and then he's back to NXT. Like, okay, what's that about?
Yeah, that's fine. It's been better there anyway.
It has been much better though. Yeah, it has. And I think the fact that NXT is becoming a very prominent brand now. Yeah. To the point where I think sometimes the ratings look like they're almost in par with some of the other ones. On par, I should say, not in par.
Inspirate.
That's going to be the word of the day. Inspirate.
Inspirate
us all. Inspirate us all.
Still talking about it, right? So we talked about what got us into it. What about now? We're all 10 plus years into training and we still decide to pick up barbells in the end or go out and do something. Like, what's the things that keep you guys going?
Do you know what? I think for me,
because I'm sure when you come in here you don't think, ooh, AJ Styles.
No, I don't actually. It's probably not. But then I don't really also think of anybody else, if I'm perfectly honest.
I think physique goals are gone. It's kind of like, well, just look as good as you can. Because we don't want to just train for muscle building and conditioning. We want to have a bit more purpose to it. Yeah, that's not so superficial. We want something that's lasting, that you can really work on a goal for years and years. So for me, strength is always going to be the motivation. But yeah, in terms of inspiration, you've always got to draw from new things. So it's a case of educating yourself. And then the more you look into and read, and when you listen to the right people, they're going to continue to inspire you. Rather than, you can't go back to the same people every time and go, oh yeah, I used to watch this guy or this lifter, and keep watching them. You've got to try new things all the time.
Yeah, I think...
Like, you're watching more CrossFit and then the documentaries they put out, so that's inspiring you more to drive your motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be able to get out of my chair when I'm 80 And I think a lot of people are...
We're doing the wrong thing, mate.
Yeah,
I'd like to be doing it now.
You know, a lot of people are saying, don't squat because it's bad for your knees and all this sort of stuff. And it's actually...
Oh, that's a different podcast, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean...
We're
it's
not
not...
going to go all the silly myths that people say.
I know, you're so much... especially like they're saying don't do things like that for your hips and all that sort of stuff. It's like, actually, the strength of my hips is going to mean I'm going to be able to get up when I'm 80 and I'm not going to be sitting there going...
Well, if you train or you don't train, when you're 80, you're in a bad way, no matter what. So it's just a case of train, you might be in much better shape, or train competitively and really push yourself. And yeah, you're going to have aches and pains when you're over 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're going to have them regardless, aren't you? I just want to be able to negate the positions. You guys carry on chatting.
Okay. So, yeah.
So I sort of said that, yeah, you're going to always look outside what you usually draw inspiration from and keep motivated in that way. I just want to be as strong as possible. So what's keeping you here? What's keeping you going?
I think something that's really got to me is just kind of embracing the hype of things. A lot of people find that a negative, but like sometimes I was watching a thing about making protagonists. How to make a decent protagonist, and the example.
By the way, fall off my chair. I landed on the back of it, and the back bent up. Was like,
you sit on that bit, mate. Not there, not the back.
I put my hand on it, and it was fell on this cheap chair.
Sorry, Scott.
No, that's
you were going to make some good points there.
No, so yeah, I watched a YouTube video. I can't remember.
Was it a guy falling off a chair?
Probably at some point.
Well, it's going to be on there soon, so don't worry about that.
Google chair Kieran fails.
Hey.
But yeah, he was talking about how to make a good protagonist, and he's like, basically, you kind of do the opposite of a villain. His example was John Wick. So villains, you always have someone that talks about the hype. Like some people just want to watch the world burn, for Dark Knight, stuff like that. And he's talking about like, this guy isn't the boogeyman, he's the guy you get to kill the boogeyman. And they talk about John Wick in that way, and it's like, oh, I'm hyped now. But you get that in the sport world, which is what kind of has made me lean towards Lasher lately. Because you watch him lift, and the commentator's just like, strongest man that's ever lived, look at him, he's an absolute unit, no one can touch him. And you're like, I want to just watch more. Why isn't there any more content of Lasher? I've watched it all twice now.
Contrast is a big inspiration, something that's a little bit different but still pushing in your sort of area.
Just something to get me excited, just give me the hype, give me that dopamine hit that's going to get me out of my chair. And then also with training and going for walks and trying to get back into cardio, it's just that mindfulness side of it. So I can't sit there and do mindfulness, which is obviously great for mental health, just to sit there and think about why you do things. But if you're doing cardio, if you're face down in a pool for 40 minutes, you don't have a choice. That's just forced meditation.
Yeah.
So just to do stuff like that, it's really good for you.
Well, it's like when you drive long distances and you find yourself thinking about a lot. It's like you're so focused and you've got that sort of autonomy because you can't not focus on driving. But you start to sort of think more, and it does become a bit clear when you do longer drives. And it's, like you say, like when you do your cardio, same thing. You can just sort of let your body.
It just tricks yourself into doing some therapy.
Right, cool.
I was going to be a strong motherfucker. I'm not even thinking about that shit. I'm just literally like, I don't pick things up, put them down. No, I don't really.
But that's
move some weight and eat some.
That's only a goal you've been like really going for in the last few years. Whereas if you've been doing that for years, you've got to find other stuff around it that you draw inspiration from. Whereas there's a brand new goal for you, so you're like, "Be fucking strong as possible." So that's sort of why you've got that attitude, which is good.
Yeah. Don't tell me that. Just because I want to pick shit up and put it down. Don't try and psychoanalyze me.
Some goals
just let
fade.
him be John North.
I don't even know who that is, but yeah, whatever he said.
Let me be him.
Let me be that.
I think we need to have another podcast where we just educate Kieran lifters.
I think we're just going to leave it at that statement there.
We'll
just educate Kieran on his inspiring or whatever it was I said.
I think what I said was relevant because what you're almost talking about is I want that big hit and that's something interesting and something to really go bang. I want to watch this guy again and I want to get back into lifting. Or you watch something cool with a triathlete or an Olympian.
Ross Edgley does it.
Ross Edgley does amazing
that guy just
things.
swam up. Maybe I can go do 2 lengths in a pool.
So you need those big hits because goals.
Sorry, I'll do it to you too.
Thanks.
It's because I know how much you love it.
Goals fade, and that's why your goal hasn't faded because you're like it's a fresh, fun goal in your head to be like, I'm going to go lift tons of stuff with Scott and Chris.
Yeah, it is.
I know he's telling me what I should.
You think this is a podcast? It's actually an intervention.
This is the reason you lift.
You need to calm down on the fajitas.
No, don't ever tell me to calm down on the fajitas. Don't ever tell me. If there's an intervention
He's going to throw a bell pepper at your head.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm not just ripping on you for the hell of it, although it's fun.
You think that's ripping on me?
No, not really. No, I think
So mild.
Some of the stuff for me is like a mental thing as well. So I'm not necessarily inspired because I watch a documentary and I think, I want to go and do that. Otherwise, I'll be doing muscle ups and
in Venice Beach.
Yeah, exactly, and hurt myself every 2 minutes. But I think some of it is that I don't want to do it, and that is a thing for me. Sometimes it's a motivation to get in the house, and I'm like, I don't want to train. But I'm going to force myself. I'm going to go and force myself to train because once I've done it. I'm going to feel good once I've done it because you're going to get that hit instantly. You get those feel good hormones coming through. But I think there's also as well is that life's not easy, and I think doing something like this it just pushes that a little bit more. So you get to the point where you get used to it. You get used to hard work.
It's why everyone should train. If they train in the morning, they train in the afternoon, they've done their hardest bit of the day. Their work becomes more manageable. They can cope with it better
because they're
pushing themselves in another area that they're going to be more stressed about and they're going to focus on more. So their hardest bit of the day is their training session later, or is their swim, is their cardio session. So it just helps you manage everything much better, and it gives you goals, gives you focus. But like the main thing there is give you something really hard to do.
Yeah, and to do what a lot of people aren't going to go and do. A lot of people aren't going to go and punish themselves. A lot of people look at the gym and go, why would I do that? I can sit on the couch and watch telly. That's fine if that's your thing. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like I want to be able to say, I'll push myself further and further every time. I don't want to just go sit back on my laurels and be like, because life's not like that. Life's not going to be like, oh, you're done now. That's okay. Go home and sit down and watch telly. It's like, it's not going to happen.
You both sort of started to say something interesting there when you were saying, there's days you don't want to do it, and you're like, the mental side where you push yourself to go and do it. I always found it funny thinking about, or when you listen to elite athletes, and I talk about how hard training is, and they're like, I was falling off the bike and I was landing on the crash mat that my coach put there, or I was in tears after training, or whatever they say, or I didn't want to go, or even great quotes from like your Muhammad Ali's when they were like, I hated every second of training. It's because they're pushing themselves so hard. So if training gets to a point where it's always easy and you're always skipping out the gym, like that was fun, you're not training hard enough. And you need to really start pushing yourself because you're just having fun in there, which is not always the goal. So even though you've got a gym attached to your house and you've been enjoying it so much, you still have days when you go, oh, this is going to be tough. I don't really want to do it. I'm going to go in there anyway.
Yeah. Even if it's something, like it might not be that I come in and I was going to squat on Monday, for example, and then decide, actually, do you know what, I really don't feel like I'm going to squat because from a pain point of view, it's not the best thing for me to be doing.
You have to listen to it sometimes.
Let's get the ab wheel out. Let's, do some pull-ups, anything. Just do something that you're at least getting moving and at least activating some form of muscle group on your body rather than just, I'm done now. That's me finished. I can't do any more now. I'm going to feel like a right hypocrite. I'm not doing it now.
There's a Bulgarian saying, isn't there, about the difference between a gardener and a landscaper. A gardener does it for fun, it's their hobby. A landscaper is their job. And everyone needs to train like a landscaper. No. So you need to go in the gym and you just have to do your work and clock out, punch in, punch out.
I wonder if any of that was lost in translation.
It might be.
Is that your Scott? Scott there, is that your quote?
I'm a landscaper.
I'm a landscaper.
This is my way of saying that I'm going into gardening.
I'm sick of lifting and I'm going into gardening.
Changing a barbell to a spade.
Is that bonsai tree we got in? We should never have done that.
The spade will have knurl on it though. Still have some knurling. Oh, yeah. So it's fine.
Fashion a spade out of a barbell.
You just do some snatches with it when no one's looking.
But it's like if you think of working out like a job, like it's something you have to do. You can call in sick at work. I've never called in sick at work unless I'm sick. So
I have.
But you have to. I've never.
In fact, you should be there right now.
Yeah, I've left. Why did I do that growing up? Nowadays I probably would. But. Yeah, you don't
know what you're saying. It's make it part of your day.
Exactly.
It's part of your day and there's no getting around it.
Yeah. The worst thing
part of your routine.
Is the anticipation of doing something.
We spoke about this last time.
It's like everything sucks until you do it. Even fun things. So you get that anxious, nervous night, before you go to a big event or you go to do something fun. When you're wrestling, before you go out the curtain, everything sucks.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have that, though, especially in wrestling, if you don't have that nervousness, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you shouldn't be doing it anymore.
I do know exactly what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you've competed on a mediocre stage, because I'm not allowed to say a big stage, because he'll go, it wasn't that big, actually. So he's competed on a mediocre level, a mediocre platform in front of a mediocre crowd.
You basically had a civil war. You fought against people in your own country.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So
England.
You're a civil war survivor.
England championships, not the battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have competed in.
No, it's just to sort of go off with what you were saying about when you turn up. But it is so stressful when you turn up at competitions. You sort of say the night before, don't get stressed, it'll be fine. And then it's really stressful on the day.
While you're sitting in your Epsom salt bath trying to cut weight.
You don't sleep.
You don't sleep as much.
Spitting in a bucket.
You get those nervous shits. You're thinking, oh, do I need to go? Do I not need to go?
I'm out at that point because I'm cutting weight. I don't have anything left to shit.
Yeah, if you can't wait for a competition, you
the
have to do a
diuretics
shit.
have ran through me. I'm in a hot towel in a bath.
We don't recommend this, by the way.
Don't
so
do that.
It's a
You
good
won't
job you never
remember.
got tested because diuretics are pretty much illegal.
I mean,
I hope you never did them. I know you're joking.
I mean, like, you used to get dandelion root tablets from Asda, and they make you pee. They just make you pee. So I was like, I'm going to try that. Don't do that because they do make you pee, and you feel very lightheaded the next day.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I was just going to say...
I cut like 7 kilo in 2 days, though.
From dandelion tablets.
Yeah, because my scales were wrong. I thought I cut like 2 kilo. I was weighing in at 104.8 at home, and I went in and I weighed in at 101.7.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
So
You essentially lost one of my legs.
yeah, I lost a stone in 2 days cutting weight, cutting water, and I don't remember. That was the one. That was your first.
Yeah, you
meet,
didn't
and
feel
I don't
great. You
remember
can't,
it.
did you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't look great. I must admit, actually.
I think the only photo we have from that show of like that meet of me and you. I'm not even looking at the camera.
No, we're all lined up in that picture. So
No,
you were
I
there.
know which one he's on about. There's one of us sitting against the wall, which is me and Scott.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember that photo. I remember the photo with Sam though. Shout out to Sam.
I remember the photo with
I
Sam.
forgot
Do you know why I remember the photo with Sam? Because I thought when I had my arms around, I thought I had my arm around you. Because obviously I know you, so I was like cuddling in, thinking it's you, and I actually looked back at the picture and I had my arms around Sam.
I thought you were going to say you had your arm around him, but you thought you had your arm around 2 people. Because Sam is literally as wide as a
I
bus.
thought I had my arm around Scott, and it turned out it was Sam.
Sam is a mini bus with a face.
It's a bus with a beard. That's it.
Yeah.
Who can do a cartwheel?
And the splits.
He'll do the
And the
splits and then
splits.
just like squat a British
God,
record.
we need to get Sam on here.
Yeah, at some point we will look at getting some guests.
We'll extend the gym and Sam can come in.
Yeah, or we will just take turns. I'll step out. Sam.
What, like he's actually Santa? Like we line up to come in, like speak to him, sit on his knee.
Like I'll tag Sam in and I'll go out. So there's room for.
You gotta make sure you hold
There's
on
only
to
room
that.
for one of us at a time.
Oh, one of you two are right.
You gotta hold on to that tag rope.
Yeah.
If it don't matter, you gotta go back out again.
Oh God.
Right, so we have probably been going a lot longer than we should have, but it's been quite fun.
Yeah, it's been
So
good.
I don't want to
Yeah.
just stop using your
Maybe
stride.
we've sparked some thoughts in people. That'd be good fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's not a problem.
Sorry.
Click his mic off. Got it. He's not even
I won't interrupt you again.
So if anyone wants to get in contact with Scott, it's Scott Speaking on Instagram.
Yep.
Mr. Mackenzie over here, his is Mackenzie Strength. It's Mackenzie.strength, is that right?
Yeah, the URL is Mackenzie.strength.
Yes.
And together, let's talk about it. This was episode 4. All right?
I have no idea. You said 4 at the beginning. I was like, sure.
I thought it was 2.
No, it might be 3 actually. It's one of the episodes. Maybe it's episode 3.
Well, we'll film one and we'll put it in the way, and this can just be number 4.
Yeah, well, this can be whatever it is. Yeah. Well, it did cut out halfway through, so we maybe have to split the episode in 2. But anyway,
I thought I heard it cut out.
yeah, it did. It's kind of annoying, but hey ho.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for watching, and remember to click subscribe, follow us on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. Well, I'm on TikTok because let's talk about it. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.